Hey guys, this is Josh from Country Classic Cars, and today I've got something really cool. I think it's interesting, at least. This is a 1987 Trabant. I'm sure you probably haven't seen a whole lot of these cars at your local car show or cruising down the street. This is a car that was produced by Veb Sachsenring, if I remember correctly. They've got a longer name too, but I can't pronounce it. This is an Eastern Bloc car from back in the Cold War days. We had East Germany and West Germany. This is something you would typically see driving in the East German side, while if you were lucky enough to be on the West German side, you're most likely in a Volkswagen Beetle or something to that effect. They made this car for about, I think it was about the 60s through the 80s, and one of the big downsides of this car is there was never much development made on it. When it first came out, it was a pretty modern car, but it stayed pretty much the same all the way through its entire development run. Which is why they are no longer in business, and you'll never see one of these again. These cars here, there was about 2 million or so of these produced. We're lucky enough to have one here, and since it is a pretty interesting and rare car, I thought we'd give you a little tour of it. So if you want to come with me, we'll take a look inside the vehicle and show you all of the phenomenal amenities this car has. I'll hop in here and kind of give you a little tour. I'll be perfectly honest with you, I don't know what a lot of this stuff does in here. You can see it's got its little ashtray. It's got a lighter. It does have a gas valve in here, kind of like carburetors on your motorcycle. So you do have to turn the gas on when you get into this vehicle. It is a manual transmission, column shift. Obviously, you got your lights and your windshield wipers. A couple switches here that I haven't figured out what they do yet. Very minimalistic. There is not a lot of anything in this interior. The door handles do open up in a little different way. These things actually slide out like that to open the door on this car, which is a little different. But other than that, I mean, it's actually the seats are pretty comfortable. There's not a whole lot of room, so if you're real tall or a real big person, this probably isn't a car you're going to be driving very much. In the back, it does have, you gotta forgive me, we're pulling some cars in and out today, but this is your storage area. As you can see, it is very minimalistic. There is not, you're not going to find any USB ports back there or power outlets or anything like that. It's basically a platform to set some bags on, and that's about all you get. But what's really exciting, more than anything else, is the power plant in this thing. So we'll pop the hood and I'll give you a little tour. This is the mighty beast that powers the Trabant. I've never worked on these, so I'm not going to pretend to tell you anything about them because, frankly, I don't know. It's a really strange little motor. Your fuel tank, battery, everything is kind of contained in this one spot. One thing I will give them credit for is they did give you a lot of room to work because it is such a small engine and transmission assembly in here. But this is a very different type of beast of what you'll normally see in some of the more compact cars out of Germany or out of the US. This particular Trabant is the model 601. We've had this for a little while, and actually we're doing this video because we've had one of our Facebook followers is really interested in this car, and we promised him we'd do a kind of an in-depth walk around and tour of the vehicle. As you'll see as we walk around, see the body of the car, once again, very minimalistic. Headlights, turn signals, your grille, very small bumper. Wheels and tires are very tiny on this vehicle. Overall, though, it's in pretty good condition. Paint seems to be very well. The body's nice and straight. All of the doors and everything open and function and shut properly. And it's just a really neat kind of throwback to the, well, for this one is to 1987, but like I said, you would see this exact type of Trabant for the last 30 years or so in the Eastern German side. So very neat car. Lucky to have one. You won't see one of these at your local car show very often. That's for sure. So with that, let's show you how to start this thing because that's a little bit of a trick as well. All right, so now we're going to show you the kind of the starting procedure on the Trabant. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, this does have a gas valve. For these particular ones, you'll see a Z, and A, and an R position. Z is off, and R is what you're going to turn the gas valve to be able to start this vehicle. I mentioned this is a column shift, so you're going to want to make sure your shifter is in neutral. Can't really see it from this side, but on the other side of the steering column here is a choke. These vehicles are pretty temperature sensitive, so if it's been outside, it's been cold, you are going to have to start it with full choke. One thing that's nice about it is you can usually push the choke back in pretty much right away, and you're going to be good to go. So gas valve, neutral, your choke. We're going to press in on the clutch. Key is right here right underneath the steering wheel. We're going to fire it up. And that's it. And that is how to start the awesome Trabant. And I'm sure you probably can't hear me because of the overwhelming sound of the massive engine that's inside this car. But yeah, that's it. It's pretty simple. When we first got this in, it took a little bit of a research to figure out where everything was. Mainly the gas valve was the one thing I didn't know about in this car, so it was one thing we had to learn when we got it. But that's it. That's how you start the Trabant. And once you're fired up and ready to go, it actually drives and shifts very, very good. I was really quite surprised for a car like this that was, what an 87. We're talking, 30 some odd years old now. But she fires up and runs really good. And that's it, guys.
You pass me a smoke. Yes, I'll take another beer. I could never say no. And hell, if I'm going home,